Mayfair Club in New York had a lot of real good players at one time.
Yeah. All the great poker players started with backgammon.
Yanni's getting an education from the old Texas road gambler TJ.
He's a great poker player.
I'm not saying he's
Yanni's
that
not
good.
buying
He's
it.
a good poker player, and he's going to be very good.
Wait, I must ask, like, how do you define good poker player?
TJ's pretty clear on this point. Hey,
Well, what they've
1
done
year
over
doesn't
the
mean
years,
nothing,
what they
kid.
do for 1 year.
Be here for 30 and 40 years like me and
Just
Doyle.
how much money did
We'll
you
talk.
Yeah, well, he plays in a game where
make? He find good games.
he can lose money, he can
Okay.
lose a fortune or win
Back
a
to
fortune.
poker.
Just that
Yeah.
type of game.
David
That's
Winters
fine,
makes
but-
300 to go. Folded around to TJ in the big blind.
More than what most people.
TJ calls the 200 with ace queen. He's got the best hand. Both players miss the flop of 10-7 deuce. TJ checks. It's 2 overcards. David Winters bets 300 into the 425 chip pot. TJ folds. Nice little steal for David Winters, taking some chips from TJ.
These lucky qualifiers not only get a chance to compete for the grand prize, but they get to rub shoulders with some of their favorite stars.
One of the greatest tournament poker players ever. He's got like over 55 major tournament wins, and it's amazing.
I can't say I'm scared to play against TJ. Maybe I should be, but I'm more looking forward to the opportunity of playing with someone like that and hopefully living to tell the story.
TJ Cloutier. I'd love to play against him.
TJ is one of the best tournament players alive.
I mean, if I lose to a pro, no one really bats an eye. But if I beat a pro, that's pretty exciting.
If I could put one of them guys out before I get knocked out, that would, it would a little bit of bragging rights.
Back to the action at the Party Poker Canadian Poker Championship, still here in level 1. First level of a long tournament. Blinds are 25 and 50. The button is in seat 5 with Peter. David Winters on the left in 6. And Yanni in seat 7. There's TJ, seat 3. The most final table appearances at the World Series of Poker, TJ Cloutier. Phil Hellmuth with more cashes, TJ with more final tables. And we know where the money is in the final table. TJ in late position picks up a 7-6 suited. Yanni up front with ace-10. He's going to fold his ace-10. Folds around to TJ. He's going to put a raise in.
Raise, 200.
With his 7-6 suited. Peter on the button is just going to flat call. You might want to re-raise there. Flat call's not a bad play, but I prefer a re-raise.
Heads up.
To the flop we go. Heads up. TJ with 7-6. Peter with an ace-queen who's flopped. Top pair queen kicker. TJ has flopped an open-ended straight draw, and he's going to check that.
Check.
Peter's got to wonder if TJ's setting a trap. He bets 300 into the pot of 475, and TJ calls. TJ's obviously at this point hoping to hit the straight, hope that Peter has the ace and he can take him off for a lot of chips. I'm guessing it TJ's plan. TJ hits a 6, gives him pair, gives him more outs. I think he's given Peter credit for the ace. Peter called the raise pre-flop.
600.
TJ's going to call that 600. TJ's getting very close to the correct odds to make the call. Of course, he's really making an implied odds call. He wants to improve the hand and ambush Peter. He doesn't. He checks it. Peter checks, and Peter will win with his ace-queen. TJ's 6 no good.
Good. It's 7-6. Spades.
It's tough to play drawn hands out of position in no limit hold'em, but in that case, and again I'm guessing that TJ's thought is that Peter will have tough time folding that ace, and that he'll get a lot of Peter's chips if he can improve the hand. Of course he didn't. He took the hit. Peter makes some nice neat stacks, counts up his chips. Everyone's still very deep in chips at this point in the tournament. Blinds are only 25 and 50. Starting stacks were 10,000. So relax, Peter. You're not that far ahead of the curve yet. Randall McCowan on an outer table, the only player eliminated so far. Peter, relax. There's a long way to go yet. He picked up a 5-7 offsuit. He'll fold that. David Winters in the small blind. He's taking a peek. He's got Jack deuce. He'll wait. Peter mucks his king 3 to Carton on the button with a king deuce offsuit. He's going to make a little button steal.
150 is your bet. 150.
David Winters folds. Yanni holding a king 7. He knows. He says, he smirks. I know what you're up to. I don't have enough to do battle with you. I'm going to let you have it. So that smile's communicating that. Come on, he says. I know what you're playing at. I know your game. You can see and hear that the frost has come off the game. The players are chatting now about the water slides and which is the best water slide. They're relaxing a little bit, starting to play the game. They're not petrified. They're not scared. They're not intimidated. It's becoming a poker game. They're starting to relax and enjoy themselves. TJ's become one of the shorter stacks of the table, although he's still got deep chips. Young Steve Wolf on TJ's left with ace-5 suited. TJ there with a 9-6 offsuit. He will fold that.
Raise.
Steve Wolf with his ace-5 of spades, putting in a little raise. Nice little raise. Put some pressure on the guys behind you. Pocket deuces for Carton Tornow in the cutoff. He calls. Goes looking for a set on the flop. Yanni the Israeli Wunderkind. King Queen in the small blind. He calls, and Jeff Gazal in the big blind calls with his king 7 offsuit. 4 players to the flop. Our first multi-way hand of the day here at the feature table. And the flop is highly coordinated with a 10-8-7 of clubs. Yanni in the small blind checks. Jeff in the big blind, who's hit bottom pair. He checks. He can't be happy with that flop.
Double check.
The pre-flop raiser Steve Wolf checks. To Carton Tornow, who bets 400 with his pocket
400.
deuces. Yanni folds. Jeff folds. Steve, who's got nothing, he's going to let this one go with his ace-5 of spades. Great example, great lesson in position. If you're around the back end, you're going to pick up a certain number of pots just because your opponents are going to check to you. Carton shows the deuces. It's not much of a bluff to show. I mean, with a board of 10-8-7, all clubs, all coordinated, you're not bluffing anyone out of that pot. I like to show the odd bluff that makes it sting when the other guy sees it. Showing the deuces in that spot, though, there's really no way it can make your opponents sting. You haven't talked anyone into a big laydown on a board of 10-8-7, all clubs. All you've done is tell them, hey guys, I'm capable of bluffing, which they suspect, but now they know for sure. The button is on seat 8. There's TJ's king 9 offsuit. He'll fold. To Peter with king 4. He'll fold. Carton Tornow with pocket 10s.
Raise.
Doesn't make a secret of it. Puts in a raise.
150.
There's a very interesting call from David Winters. Yanni folds. Jeff folds. And Ray folds the big blind with a 5-3.
Heads up.
10-10. And behind him, David Winters with an ace-5 offsuit. The flop is jack high. The 10s are still good.
Check.
Carton checks. I think he probably should have bet out.
200.
Exactly what he has invited has happened. David's put a little 200 bluff out there, and Carton has called. If you're going to call, you might as well bet, because you're not going to define your hand by checking and calling. And now disaster is struck. An ace has hit the turn. Carton checks again. David's now improved the best hand. He puts out a bet of 400. And Carton's in a tough spot. He's created this position for himself. He raised pre-flop. David calls. He shows weakness. The flop's only jack high. Really, the only thing that's likely that David has that puts you in a world of hurt is a jack. Ace jack? Is he calling a raise with ace jack? Maybe. You should have bet the flop. I mean, Carton's put himself into this position by playing the hand passively post-flop, inviting the bluff. The bluff's turned into the best hand. David picks up a nice pot. It's a nice play from David Winters. I question the call pre-flop, but if your opponent is going to play the hand as weakly as Carton did, you can play any 2 cards almost in that spot, and you're going to pick up a lot of chips from the guy on your right-hand side. Nice play from David Winters. Very nice. We've seen him make a couple of really nice plays. Another player, I would think, that is, if he can get by TJ, a force to be reckoned with. There's David thinking, I got you, and Carton thinking, did you get me? Battle of wills going on at the feature table, the Party Poker